We're going to keep it short and sweet, you know, just like me. Hey, it's Brandon Devnish from i3D Themes with this week's interactive number 40, where we share what we're passionate about and what we've been working on here at i3D Themes in the Design and Code Labs. So, yeah, Colin had a short week. Keeping with the short concept here. He took Thursday and Friday off this week to participate in a golf tournament across the border over in Washington, and with a bunch of our buddies for the biannual Frizoo tournament that he participates in. I'm not quite sure what their charity is this time around, but I'm sure that he'll fill me in on all of that once he gets back. So that meant that I have been manning the phones and talking to a whole bunch of you folks in the last couple days. Really nice talking to you all. And so sort of offset how much we got done this week. But for the first part of the week before Colin took off, he was working on his cinematic website design. He promised me by the end of this week that he was going to get me a preview. Then he goes and takes off and goes golfing. Okay, I'm going to have to talk to him about his productivity, hey? No, we should have a preview next week. He's been doing a lot of research on the different types of and ways of doing cinemagraphs, and so we're hoping here in the next 2 weeks that we'll have a finished product ready to roll in our catalog. It looks really super sharp, and I think you'll really enjoy how this particular design looks. And then in the Code Labs here, the week started off really awesome with some major significant improvements to performance for our Accelerator WordPress plugin. We have more or less all the features built into the system, and now it's just about improving them, and then we'll be also improving the interface for the actual WordPress plugin itself. And we're looking at probably about 3 to 4 weeks of finishing up all of that, and then we're going to be doing probably a 3 to 4 more weeks of actual beta testing in real live environments before we actually launch that product. Also coming up next week, this is something that you probably want to take note of. We're going to be doing a long article thing of sorts where we're going to walk you through what you need to do in order to take your website to be secured. So traditionally it was called an SSL certificate or HTTPS. Basically it's a secured certificate. One of the advances in secure certificates in the last year or two is there is now an open certificate authority called Let's Encrypt. Now Let's Encrypt basically lets you have a SSL certificate or TLS, whatever the certificate is, for no charge. And it's very, very easy. If your web hosting platform is set up for it, it's very easy to just get a certificate like in seconds, basically. And so next week I'm going to be walking through a tutorial of how you would go and set that up if you're using our hosting, and other hosting platforms are very, very similar as well. And so you can walk through that. We're also going to be walking through the things you need to watch for when taking a website from being non-secured to being secured, because there's some things that need to also be changed in your HTML code, and we're going to walk you through all the different things that you need to look at and double check and triple check and make sure that the entire page has been secured, not just partially, because sometimes you can get what's called mixed content blocking warnings. Anyways, look for that next week. We think it's really super important that everybody takes this opportunity to get their websites secured. It's really how the web is all moving, and so you haven't done it yet. We understand that it can be a little daunting. If you don't know what you're doing, we're going to basically keep it very simple, and so that there's going to be no questions by the end of it, and you'll find this actually a pretty easy thing to do. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me. We hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And we'll talk to you again here next week.